When humanity declined to speak, the galaxy stood frozen in dread. Best HFY Stories, HFY Sci-Fi Part 101 in the galaxy had ever been ignored before. For thousands of years, the United Stellar Council ruled from its shining capital world, Urandor Prime. The planet was covered in tall silver towers and wide halls of light. Leaders from many species gathered there. Some had wings of glass, some had skin like stone, some were made of living mist. All of them believed the same thing: every new species must answer when called. When humanity discovered faster-than-light travel, the Council took notice at once. Earth was young compared to most spacefaring civilizations. Humans had only just stepped beyond their solar system. Their ships were not the largest. Their cities did not shine across multiple stars, but their signals were sharp and organized. Their technology grew fast, very fast. The Council did not see a threat. They saw a future member. A fleet of white and gold vessels moved toward the Sol system. Their hulls curved like smooth shells. Soft light flowed along their sides. They carried diplomats, translators, and ceremonial guards. This was how first contact always worked. They arrived at the edge of the system and sent a greeting. The message was long and rich with praise. To the emerging species of the third planet, we welcome you into the greater harmony. Respond and receive guidance. The message was translated into every known form of sound and signal: radio waves, light pulses, gravity fluctuations, even simple math patterns. On Earth, deep inside a secure command center in Colorado, President Claire Hamilton watched the incoming data on a large screen. She did not smile. Around her stood a small group of leaders: Secretary of Defense Ryan Mitchell, Intelligence Director Ethan Cole, General Nathan Scott, Admiral Victor Hale, joined by Secure Link from Mars orbit, Dr. Madison Clark from the Lunar Research Base. The room was quiet. "They are expecting a reply within the hour," Ethan said. Claire folded her hands. "We knew this day would come." Years before the first alien ship entered the system, humanity had already detected distant signals, faint patterns of structured communication between stars. Scientists confirmed what many had hoped and feared. They were not alone, but they did not rush to answer. Instead, humanity listened. They watched how the Council treated smaller civilizations. Some worlds prospered under Council rule. Others lost control of their own fleets. Local governments became symbolic. Military forces were placed under Council command. Trade flowed through Council systems first. Independence slowly faded. "If we answer them as they expect," Ryan said, "we step onto their path." Claire nodded once. "And we do not know where that path ends." Far above Earth, near Jupiter's orbit, the human flagship Horizon held position. Captain Daniel Brooks stood on the bridge. The large window showed distant stars and the faint shapes of alien ships at the edge of the system. Commander Lisa Grant stood beside him. "They're beautiful," she said quietly. "Yes," Daniel replied, "and very confident." The alien fleet sent a second message, shorter this time: "Identify your leadership structure and prepare for formal induction." Daniel looked at his communications officer, Lieutenant Amy Parker. "Send the prepared response," he said. Amy took a breath and pressed a control. Across the vacuum of space, a simple message traveled toward the Council fleet. "Coordinates attached. Meet at neutral zone near Jupiter." That was all. No greeting, no praise, no statement of respect. In the main Council ship, confusion spread among the diplomatic team. Their leader, High Envoy Salik of the Thrin Order, studied the human reply. "Is that the full message?" one advisor asked. Salik's thin eyes narrowed. "It appears so." "There is no acknowledgement of Council authority." "No," Salik said slowly, "there is not." Still, they followed the coordinates. Near Jupiter, the human fleet waited. Dozens of ships formed a wide defensive pattern. They did not power weapons openly. They did not move in threat. They simply held position with exact spacing. The Council fleet arrived in perfect formation. Their ships were larger, glowing softly against the darkness. A communication channel opened automatically. Salic appeared as a tall figure of pale blue skin and dark robes. Behind him stood several guards. On the human side, Captain Daniel Brooks appeared on screen, wearing a simple Navy uniform. "On behalf of the United Stellar Council," Salic began, "we welcome your species into the greater interstellar community." Daniel listened without expression. It is tradition that new civilizations formally recognize the authority of the Council and declare peaceful intent under our guidance. Silence filled the bridge of the horizon. Lisa watched Daniel carefully. "We acknowledge your presence," Daniel said at last. His voice was calm, steady. "Humanity remains sovereign within its territory." Salic blinked slowly. "Sovereignty is preserved within Council structure." "Humanity is not seeking membership," Daniel replied. A pause. The Council delegation shifted slightly. "Membership is not optional," Salic said. "All advanced species join the harmony." Daniel's face did not change. "We decline." No anger, no insult, just two words. In the Council ship, several advisors began speaking at once. Salic raised a hand for silence. "Decline?" "Yes," Daniel said. "We request that Council vessels withdraw beyond the heliopause boundary." The request was clear, firm. It was also unheard of. For a moment, neither side spoke. Then Daniel nodded once to Amy. The channel closed. On the human bridge, no one cheered. No one celebrated. "All ships maintain position," Daniel ordered. "Yes, Captain," Lisa said. Far away on Urandor Prime, news of the exchange reached the Central Council chamber. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered in rising noise. They ended communication. Without formal treaty, without submission. Never in recorded history had a species refused open dialogue at first contact. Most were eager, some were afraid, a few were hostile. But all of them talked. Humanity had not. Back on Earth, Claire Hamilton watched the report from Daniel. "They will test us," Nathan Scott said. "Of course they will," Claire replied. Hours later, small Council probes drifted closer to Mars. Each probe carried advanced scanners. They moved carefully, slowly, like cautious insects. In Mars orbit, Admiral Victor Hale stood inside the command deck of the defense station Archer. "Range?" he asked. "Entering boundary in 10 seconds, a technician replied. Victor gave a small nod. When the first probe crossed the invisible line, it shut down instantly. No explosion, no blast. Its lights simply went dark. The other probes halted at once. A short message was transmitted automatically from Mars Command. "Boundary enforced. Do not advance." No threat. No explanation. The Council ships pulled the disabled probe back with tractor beams. On their sensors, they could not determine what had happened. No weapon discharge, no energy spike, just silence. Salic stood in the observation chamber of his vessel. Beyond the glass, the red glow of Mars shone faintly. "They are prepared," one advisor said. "Yes," Salic answered. "They are." Another message was sent to Earth. "The Council offers technological exchange and defensive alliance. Refusal may result in isolation." On Earth, the Leadership Council gathered again. Ethan Cole projected data across the table, charts of Council expansion, records of absorbed fleets. "Isolation might be the safer path," he said. Ryan crossed his arms. "They assume we fear being alone." Claire looked at the stars on the screen. "We have always been alone," she said softly, "until now." In the Sol system, the human fleet did not move. No further reply was sent. Days passed. The Council fleet remained at the edge of the system. They did not attack. They did not leave. They waited, and humanity waited with them. Inside hidden facilities on the Moon, Dr. Madison Clark monitored deep power readings from beneath Earth's crust. Systems built over decades hummed quietly. Vast networks linked planets and stations in ways no outside sensor could fully map. She spoke through secure line to Victor Hale. All arrays are synchronized. Good, Victor replied. Keep them cold. You think it will come to that? Victor looked at the distant shapes of council ships on his display. I hope not. On Urandor Prime, debates grew louder. Some council members urged force, others urged patience. They are a young species, one elder said. They will realize their mistake. But another spoke with concern. A young species that refuses guidance may become unpredictable. That word spread quietly through council networks. Unpredictable. In the Sol system, the alien fleet shifted slightly, adjusting formation. Lisa noticed first. Captain, they're repositioning. Daniel stepped closer to the display. Defensive, he asked. Hard to tell. Every human ship powered shields to standby. Weapon systems aligned but remained offline. No broadcasts were sent. No warnings given, just silence. Across the empty space between fleets, tension thickened. The galaxy watched through distant sensors and trade routes. News traveled faster than ships. A new species had refused the Council and had not been destroyed, yet. Back on Earth, Claire Hamilton stood alone on a balcony outside the command center. The night sky stretched above her. Stars shone calmly, unaware of politics and fear. Ethan stepped beside her. Do you think they will attack? He asked. I think they want us to speak first, she said. And we won't, she shook her head slowly. Not unless we choose the words. Far beyond Pluto, at the very edge of human space, long-range detectors picked up a faint energy surge from the Council fleet. It was small, controlled, but deliberate, a signal of power. Victor Hale saw it at the same moment. They're testing reactions, he said. Orders? Lisa asked from the horizon. Victor's voice came through secure channel. Hold position, no response. And so humanity did nothing. No signal, no movement. Only steady heartbeats inside metal ships. Inside the Council flagship, Salix studied the human formation once more. They do not flinch, an advisor whispered. Salix's gaze hardened. No, he said, they do not. For the first time since the Council began its expansion across the stars, uncertainty crept into their command. Because when a species argues, it reveals fear. When a species threatens, it reveals limits. But when a species says nothing at all, no one knows what it is thinking. And that was something the United Stellar Council had never faced before. In the deep silence between stars, two civilizations watched each other. One expected obedience. The other offered none. And the galaxy began to understand that this first meeting would not end the way it always had. Humanity had spoken only twice, and now it refused to speak again. The Council fleet lingered near Jupiter, refusing to leave. The massive ships glided slowly through space, their surfaces glowing softly with power. Inside the command chambers, High Envoy Salic paced back and forth. Every advisor around him whispered possibilities and fears. They had faced thousands of species before. Some were aggressive, some were deceitful, some were weak. None had done what humanity had done. Humanity had not bowed. Humanity had not begged. Humanity had not sent endless apologies or explanations. Humanity had simply refused to speak beyond two short messages. That simple defiance had frozen the Council in place. On Earth, the human command center buzzed quietly with activity. Captain Daniel Brooks watched the star field from the horizon's bridge. Each ship maintained perfect formation, shields active but not raised fully, weapons online but still resting. No aggressive move was made. The human fleet waited. Patience was their weapon. Commander Lisa Grant studied the Council ships on the view screen. She noticed small changes in their patterns, subtle, careful. The Council ships seemed tense. They're nervous, she said. Daniel nodded. Good, let them be nervous. We are ready for anything. In Colorado, President Claire Hamilton met again with her advisors. Intelligence Director Ethan Cole presented new reports from Council communications, showing internal panic spreading among Council members. Every new message they sent to humanity was met with silence. They're trying to provoke us, Ryan Mitchell said, the Secretary of Defense. Or at least to make us respond. They want to see fear or confusion. They want to find a weak point. There is none, Claire said. We know who we are. We know what we can do. We only respond when it is necessary. Everything else is noise, Doctor. Madison Clark, monitoring lunar defense arrays, spoke over the secure line. The Council's probes are trying to analyze our systems. All readings show our arrays are fully operational. They cannot bypass them. We can defend the solar system completely if necessary. Ethan looked at her. No one knows about that. The Council will assume we are weaker than we are. Let them assume, Claire said. Their assumptions will be the problem for them. In orbit above Mars, Admiral Victor Hale observed the Council fleet through long-range sensors. His ships maintained a steady defensive formation, waiting without provoking. His voice came calm through secure channels. They test us with small movements. Do not respond. Let them reveal themselves. We are stronger when they hesitate. Inside the Council flagship, High Envoy Salic grew frustrated. His advisors whispered constantly. One suggested firing a warning shot. Another urged sending a fleet of ground troops to Earth. Salic's face hardened. We do not know their limits, he said. Any attack could destroy the system. We cannot afford that. Hold position. Over the next few days, Council communication teams tried every tactic they could imagine. Images of conquered planets flashed across human sensors. Entire civilizations that had resisted the Council before were displayed in holograms in human command centers. Each image intended to frighten, to provoke a reaction. On the horizon, Daniel Brooks watched in silence. He did not look away. No crew member reacted. Lisa Grant spoke softly. They expect panic, don't they? Daniel did not answer. He only observed. Patience had been drilled into the fleet. For decades, humanity had prepared for situations like this. They were ready to survive even if attacked. They were ready to protect their home. On Earth, Claire Hamilton spoke to the Council on the secure network. Humanity will not join your alliance. Humanity will not submit. We will defend our sovereignty with all resources at our disposal. If you leave, there will be peace. If you do not, you risk everything you have built. Then silence. No response. The Council fleet shifted nervously. Their sensors detected something unexpected. Energy readings appeared near the asteroid belt, strange distortions that they could not fully understand. No weapons, no blasts, just faint pulses of power. Salic called for a special advisory meeting. Their systems are vast and coordinated. Their defense networks are precise. We cannot predict how far they extend. A direct attack could trigger unknown consequences. One advisor whispered, "They are not like other young species. They are dangerous without acting aggressively. They have prepared for everything." "That is exactly what makes them so frightening," Salic said. Inside human facilities, Dr. Madison Clark and her team worked quietly. Arrays built under the surface of Earth hummed with controlled energy. Lunar stations synchronized with orbital satellites. Planetary defenses were in place. They did not prepare to conquer the galaxy. They prepared to survive, to protect, to make any attack unbearably costly. On the horizon, the crew monitored Council ships moving slowly near Saturn. The aliens tried different formations, rotations, and patterns. They hoped to see human reactions to force a move. Every attempt failed. Daniel Brooks finally spoke to his crew. "Do not respond unless I give the order. Let them worry. Let them guess. Nothing they do can change what we have built. We only act if necessary." The Council began internal debates. Factions argued for retreat. Factions urged testing humanity more aggressively. Some spoke of psychological warfare. They did not understand humans. Humans were not predictable. Humans did not panic. Humans did not respond to fear. Over the next few weeks, minor Council ships attempted to probe human territory. Each probe encountered invisible barriers and was disabled quietly. The council had no record of what stopped the probes, no shots fired, no explosions. The humans were precise, controlled, calm. Back on Earth, Claire Hamilton monitored the situation alongside her team. "They are trying to see if we will act," she said. "But there is no need. Our strength is in readiness. Our strength is in control. The galaxy expects us to speak or react. We choose not to. That is power too." On the horizon, Lisa Grant observed the council fleet's subtle changes. "They are nervous. It is visible even from here." "Good," Daniel said. "Let them be. Patience is our ally." The council did not stop. They tried every communication channel. They sent messages in strange frequencies. They attempted energy signals, light pulses, complex mathematical patterns. All messages returned unanswered. Humans did not react. Humans waited. Humans stayed silent. Inside the council flagship, tensions rose. Salic walked among his advisors. "We have never met such a species. They refuse diplomacy. They refuse negotiation. They refuse to react. How do we measure them? How do we know their limits?" One advisor spoke quietly. "They are unpredictable. More unpredictable than any species we have conquered or observed." Salic did not answer. He only stared at the stars, trying to imagine what humans were capable of. On Earth, Dr. Madison Clark and her team worked day and night. Vast networks of arrays connected satellites, orbital platforms, and planetary defenses. Humanity did not intend to strike first, but if necessary, the cost for an aggressor would be unbearable. Ethan Cole summarized the situation to Claire Hamilton. "They think silence is weakness. They are wrong. Humans are ready. Humans do not need to speak to show strength." Days turned into weeks. Council fleets remained near Jupiter and Saturn, unsure how to act. Every new message was met with the same silence. Every probe disabled quietly. Every maneuver studied and measured by human observers. Humans were calm. Humans were precise. Humans did not panic. Inside the horizon, Daniel Brooks spoke to Lisa Grant. "They are losing confidence. We do not need to attack. We do not need to threaten. They will see our strength without a single weapon fired." Lisa nodded. "Their own uncertainty is working for us." On Urandor Prime, the council convened emergency meetings. Elder representatives argued. "We cannot allow this species to remain independent without joining the council. They could rise against us." Another elder responded, "And if we force them, we risk total destruction. We cannot know their true capabilities." Inside the council flagship, Salic finally admitted what others whispered. "We have underestimated them. We do not know their strength. We do not know what they will do. They are not like any other species." Far above the asteroid belt, human defense arrays hummed quietly. Satellites, probes, and ships monitored every approach. Energy pulses measured every movement of the council fleet. Every human vessel was connected to the defense grid. Every crew member followed strict protocols. On the horizon, Daniel Brooks stood on the bridge. He looked at the council ships floating silently in space. "They do not know what to expect," he said. "No," Lisa replied. "And that is the point. We are ready. We are patient. They are afraid and they do not know it." Inside Earth Command, Claire Hamilton looked out at the night sky. "We have done everything to show strength without aggression. We have shown control without violence. They do not understand our power, and that is enough." Weeks passed. Council ships began to move cautiously. They tested energy fields near human positions. Each test was countered quietly, without warning, without retaliation. The council realized that humans were not just strong. Humans were precise, prepared, and calm. They could not be predicted. They could not be manipulated. They could not be feared in the way the council expected. The realization spread slowly across council space. Humans were not like any other species they had encountered. They did not follow the usual rules. They did not respond to intimidation. They did not ask for help. They only waited, only observed, only protected themselves with careful planning and immense hidden strength. Salic gathered his advisors one last time. We cannot force them. We cannot know what they will do. They will not speak, and in their silence they hold all the power. On the horizon, Daniel Brooks finally allowed himself a small smile. Humanity had won without firing a single shot. They had not declared war, nor had they sent threats. They had only stayed silent, and their silence spoke louder than any weapon. Lisa Grant watched him, understanding exactly what he meant. We have proven that strength does not need to be loud. It only needs to exist. On Earth, Claire Hamilton addressed her team one evening. This is only the beginning. The galaxy has learned a new truth. Humanity is not weak. Humanity does not beg. Humanity does not negotiate with fear, and humanity will always protect itself. Far beyond the Sol system, Council ships withdrew slowly. They did not retreat in defeat. They did not speak of loss. They simply left, uncertain and wary, leaving humanity in control of its own space. Inside the horizon, the crew prepared to return to normal patrols. Ships moved with ease, systems checked and double-checked. Captain Daniel Brooks looked out at the stars. "They have learned their lesson," he said. Lisa Grant nodded. "And we did not have to speak a word." Humanity had chosen silence, and in that silence they had taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. The galaxy had faced countless empires, countless threats. None had ever been like humanity. None had ever refused to speak. None had ever waited calmly while power gathered around them. And in that quiet patience, humans had created a force far greater than any weapon: certainty, readiness, and absolute control over their own destiny. The Council would remember this day forever. A young species had refused to obey, refused to negotiate, refused to respond. And in that refusal, they had stood stronger than any empire, more dangerous than any fleet, and more unyielding than any law the Council had ever made. Humans had not conquered the stars. They had simply claimed the right to remain free. And the galaxy had no choice but to respect that silence. The Council retreated slowly, but they did not leave quietly. Whispers of fear and confusion spread through their fleets. High Envoy Salic spent long hours in the observation chamber of the flagship, staring at the stars between Jupiter and Saturn. He had faced countless civilizations. He had seen species rise and fall under the weight of their own pride. Yet humanity was different. Calm, silent, precise, and unwilling to speak, they had refused every attempt at control. Advisors around him argued endlessly. One said they should return with a larger fleet. Another urged sending a diplomatic envoy with an ultimatum. Salic shook his head. "Any direct action could be catastrophic. We do not know what they can do. We cannot risk it." The word unpredictable began to echo through council chambers. It had not been used lightly in thousands of years. Unpredictability was dangerous. It was something they had studied carefully in war games and history lessons. No species had embodied it like humanity. Far beyond, in the Sol system, human ships maintained a calm patrol. Captain Daniel Brooks walked along the bridge of the horizon. His eyes scanned the distant council ships now drifting slowly away. They had not attacked. They had not spoken. Yet they had been forced to reconsider everything they believed. Commander Lisa Grant joined him, arms folded. "They are retreating," she said. "But they are still afraid." "Good," Daniel replied. "Fear is useful, but understanding is better. They have learned that humans are not weak. Humans do not flinch, and humans are prepared for anything." On Earth, President Claire Hamilton addressed the Security Council. Intelligence Director Ethan Cole displayed the latest analysis of Council communications. "They are sending smaller fleets to scout independent systems," Ethan said. "They are testing reactions elsewhere, but every probe fails quietly." "Humans have prepared defenses they cannot even detect," Claire nodded. "This is exactly what we planned. They are learning patience the same way we taught them caution." In the far reaches of human-controlled space, lunar arrays hummed quietly. "Doctor." Madison Clark and her team monitored energy readings across thousands of kilometers. Hidden beneath the moon and beneath Earth itself, planetary defenses were synchronized. Satellites, orbital platforms, and deep space drones all connected into a single network. No council ship could move without being detected. No fleet could advance without being countered. Humans had not fired a single shot, yet the cost of aggression against them would be unimaginable. In Mars' orbit, Admiral Victor Hale watched sensors with quiet satisfaction. "They are learning," he said. "Without threat, without aggression, we have forced caution." On Erendor Prime, council leaders argued for hours. Factions debated sending messages demanding explanation, but High Envoy Salic refused. He had grown silent, thinking constantly. Humanity had done what no other species had done. They had refused dialogue, refused allegiance, refused compromise, and yet they had not acted aggressively. They had demonstrated strength through patience, and now the council could not move without risk. Rumors spread among independent systems. Traders, explorers, and diplomats from distant star clusters began sending cautious reports about the humans. They had observed humans in space for the first time. They had seen precision, calm, readiness. Humans were not seeking allies, they were not seeking dominance, yet their presence was undeniable, their strength was real, and their silence was terrifying. Inside the horizon, Daniel Brooks met with his senior officers. "Our mission continues," he said. "We do not engage unless necessary. We monitor, we protect, and we wait. The Council is learning. Other species are learning. We have shown that strength does not need words, it only needs action, or in our case, inaction." Lisa Grant nodded. "They underestimated us. Now they know to be cautious." Across the galaxy, Council fleets shifted slowly, uncertain. Probes were disabled quietly, formations altered repeatedly, energy readings unexpected. Every time they tried to calculate human limits, the calculations failed. Humanity did not react to fear, threats, or intimidation. They only observed, planned, and waited. On Earth, Claire Hamilton spoke to her team in the secure command center. "We have done more than defend ourselves," she said. "We have taught the galaxy a lesson. Strength does not need noise. Strength does not need violence. Strength only needs control and preparation." Ethan Cole added, "Other species are watching now. They see that humans do not respond like anyone else. Our silence speaks louder than any words or threats could." In deep space, beyond the reach of Council sensors, hidden human patrols moved through asteroid fields and empty regions. Each ship was ready for any eventuality. Sensors watched every movement. Energy pulses were measured constantly. Communication was secure. The galaxy had not yet realized the full scale of humanity's preparation. On the horizon, Daniel Brooks spoke quietly to his crew. "They will return. They always return. But now they know that humans do not flinch. Humans do not negotiate under pressure. Humans do not need to speak to demonstrate strength. Patience is our weapon. Silence is our shield." Lisa Grant smiled faintly. "And they do not understand either. They cannot predict us." Inside Council space, Salic met with his advisors. The word dangerous was spoken repeatedly. "We cannot attack," one said. "We cannot negotiate, we cannot force them, and we do not know what they are capable of." Salic nodded slowly. "Exactly. They are not like any species we have encountered. Their technology is one thing, their discipline another. But it is their calm, their control, their refusal to act or speak unnecessarily that makes them unpredictable, and unpredictability is dangerous." Over the next months, humans expanded patrols quietly. Independent systems began contacting human representatives. They did not come as subordinates, but as observers, curious about the species that refused to join the Council, yet still commanded respect through calm strength. On Earth, Claire Hamilton watched reports come in. "The galaxy is learning a new truth," she said. "Humans do not need to threaten. Humans do not need to negotiate. Humans only need to exist, prepared and disciplined. Dr. Madison Clark monitored energy networks. Our arrays are fully operational, she said. All linked systems are synchronized. They cannot detect the full scale of our defenses. If aggression comes, the cost will be total. Ethan Cole looked at her, impressed. Even the Council does not understand. They cannot imagine the full scale of what humanity has prepared. In orbit around Mars, Admiral Victor Hale smiled quietly. We have won without a fight. The galaxy fears us without a single shot fired. Daniel Brooks observed distant council ships. They will not forget this, he said. They will respect us, even if they do not understand us. Weeks passed. The council fleets continued cautious observation from afar. Messages sent to humanity were ignored. Probes attempting to gather information were disabled quietly. Each human maneuver, however small, demonstrated perfect coordination and readiness. In human command centers, the leadership celebrated no victories. There was no cheering, no triumph. Humans had done what was necessary. They had protected their world, demonstrated readiness, and taught the galaxy that silence could be stronger than noise. Claire Hamilton spoke to her team one night. We have not defeated them. We have not conquered. We have simply chosen to show strength through control. The galaxy will learn from this. It will remember this. Far beyond the solar system, independent traders and explorers reported the story. Humans did not demand allegiance. Humans did not attack. Humans did not speak unless they wished to. Yet every fleet, every council ship, every diplomat understood one simple truth. Humanity was not weak and it could not be predicted. Inside the horizon, Daniel Brooks looked at the stars. Our work is not done, he said. We protect, we observe, and we wait. That is enough. That is more than enough, Lisa Grant nodded, and the galaxy has already begun to notice. On Earth, President Claire Hamilton addressed her team one final time in the command center. Our message has been sent, she said. Humans are not here to conquer. We are not here to negotiate unless we choose. We only protect. And in that protection, we have taught the galaxy a lesson it will never forget. Beyond the reach of council fleets, humanity moved quietly but with absolute purpose. Their silence, patience, and readiness were now legendary. The council could not predict them. Other species could not manipulate them. Humans had created a new standard in the galaxy, calm strength, invisible yet undeniable. And in that quiet strength, the galaxy began to see humanity in a new light. They had refused to speak. They had refused to negotiate. They had refused to bow. And in that refusal, they had become something the galaxy had never faced before, unstoppable, patient, and utterly certain. The story of humanity would travel far, carried by whispers and reports across countless stars. The lesson was clear. A species that did not speak, did not threaten, and did not panic could still be stronger than any empire. And humanity waited, silent but ready. For whatever the galaxy might send next, the Council had withdrawn beyond the outer limits of the Sol system, but the echoes of their presence remained. Fleets that had once patrolled confidently now moved cautiously. They had faced countless species, machine empires, and warlords, but none had ever resisted without speaking. Humanity had shown the galaxy something new: strength without words, power without aggression, and patience without fear. On Earth, President Claire Hamilton stood in the command center, watching the reports pour in. Intelligence Director Ethan Cole and Secretary of Defense Ryan Mitchell stood beside her. Across the network, Dr. Madison Clark and Admiral Victor Hale monitored defense systems, satellites, and orbital arrays. The humans were quiet, but their presence was now undeniable across multiple star systems. They are observing us from far away, Ethan said, pointing to the holographic map showing Council patrols. They are not attacking, but they are nervous. Every movement they make is cautious. Claire nodded. That is exactly what we wanted. They cannot predict us. They cannot pressure us. They do not know our full strength, and they fear it. Far beyond Pluto, the human fleet horizon moved in silent formation. Captain Daniel Brooks walked along the bridge, watching the distant stars. Commander Lisa Grant stood beside him, arms crossed, eyes scanning the fleet displays. "They still watch us," Lisa said. "Even now they cannot leave without knowing what we will do." "Let them watch," Daniel replied. "We have done nothing wrong. We have done nothing aggressive. All they see is readiness, and that is enough." On Earth, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to maintain and upgrade defense systems. Dr. Madison Clark monitored energy pulses from the deep space arrays. They hummed quietly, invisible to any outside sensor, yet fully operational. Every planetary system under human protection was connected through secure networks. Humans had not built weapons for conquest. They had built them for protection, for deterrence, and for survival. "Our arrays are stable," Madison reported over the secure line. "They cannot detect the full scale. If any aggression comes, the cost will be total. They will not want to test us." Admiral Victor Hale smiled. "And they already know it. Every action, every probe, every message has failed to provoke us. They have learned that nothing we do is reckless. Nothing we do is predictable." The Council fleets continued to linger in deep space, their confidence shaken. High Envoy Salek convened emergency meetings, but no solutions were simple. The humans had refused every offer, every threat, every invitation to join the Council. They had not reacted aggressively. They had not spoken unnecessarily. They had only waited and remained ready. Unpredictability, the Council realized, was the deadliest weapon a species could have. News of humanity spread quickly through independent star systems. Traders, explorers, and scientists reported quietly on the young species that refused Council authority, yet commanded respect across the stars. Fleets that had once ignored Earth now approached cautiously, curious to study humans without entering conflict. Inside the horizon, Daniel Brooks addressed his senior officers. "We have proven our point," he said. "Humans are not weak. Humans do not bow. Humans do not speak without reason. And now the galaxy understands that. We wait. We protect. We are ready." Lisa Grant nodded. "Our silence has become our strength. They cannot manipulate us. They cannot predict us, and they fear it." On Earth, Claire Hamilton addressed the command center. "We have not conquered the galaxy. We have not attacked. We have not threatened. And yet the galaxy respects us. Strength is not shown through noise or war. It is shown through control, readiness, and patience." For months, humanity continued its careful patrols. Distant species began to approach cautiously, requesting trade agreements, technology exchange, or simple observation rights. Humans did not refuse all contact, but they remained in control. Every negotiation was calm, measured, and guided by the principle of sovereignty. Humanity did not bow to anyone. Humanity did not submit to Council rules. Humanity spoke only when it chose, and then only with purpose. Far beyond the Council's reach, energy arrays across the solar system remained active. Satellites monitored the outer planets and deep space regions. Orbital stations around Earth, Mars, and the Moon worked in coordination. Humans had prepared for war without ever starting it. They had created deterrence through silence, patience, and absolute readiness. Inside Council space, High Envoy Salek continued to struggle with the reality. "They are not aggressive," he said, "but they are unstoppable if provoked. They are precise, prepared, and patient. They do not speak unless they wish to, and that is terrifying." Advisors whispered nervously. They had faced machine empires that could wipe out planets. They had faced species that controlled hundreds of star systems. None had been like humanity. Humans did not react predictably. Humans did not panic. Humans did not need allies to command respect. And that silence, that calm refusal to act unnecessarily, had shaken the Council to its core. On Earth, Claire Hamilton reflected on the lessons humanity had learned. "We have not ruled the stars," she said. "We have not destroyed any empire. We have not forced anyone to obey. Yet the galaxy has learned to respect us. Strength is not in loud words or destructive power. It is in readiness, patience, and the refusal to act until necessary." Daniel Brooks watched the stars from the horizon. "Every fleet, every observer, every council member knows our limits without ever being tested. That is power." Lisa Grant agreed. "They have learned fear without us firing a single weapon. They have learned caution without a single threat. They have learned respect without a single demand." In independent star systems, humans began to be seen as a new standard. Species that once followed the council blindly now approached with caution and curiosity. They wanted to understand the silent power that humans had demonstrated. Fleets began to study human methods quietly. Humans did not intervene unless necessary. They did not seek to dominate. Yet their influence spread simply because they existed, ready and prepared, silent and patient. Inside council space, High Envoy Salak admitted what many had whispered privately. "We cannot manipulate them. We cannot intimidate them. We cannot force their hand. They do not speak unless they choose. They do not react unless necessary, and that is a power we have never faced." On Earth, Dr. Madison Clark watched energy readings across the network. "They are learning without even realizing it. Every probe, every ship, every message has failed to provoke us. They are cautious now. They are aware of the cost." Ethan Cole nodded. "And they will remain cautious for decades. Humanity has shown that it is not weak, not desperate, and not predictable. That is more powerful than any weapon." Months passed and the galaxy adjusted. Fleets moved carefully. Messages were sent slowly. Species began to observe humanity without challenge. Humans had not conquered, had not attacked, had not demanded obedience. Yet every observer understood one fact. Humans were strong, patient, and unyielding. Humans did not speak, but their silence carried authority. Captain Daniel Brooks walked along the horizon's bridge. "They will return eventually," he said. "But now they know they cannot force us. They know we do not act without reason. And they know that patience can be stronger than weapons." Lisa Grant looked out at the stars. "And that is exactly how it should be. The galaxy needs to learn that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it waits, silent and ready." On Earth, President Claire Hamilton addressed her team one final time before stepping down from office. "The lesson is clear. Humans do not need to speak to be strong. Humans do not need to fight to protect themselves. Humans only need to exist, prepared and patient. The galaxy has learned that, and that lesson will last longer than any fleet or empire." Far beyond the reach of council fleets, humans continued quiet exploration. They did not expand recklessly. They did not conquer. They only prepared. They only protected. They only waited. Their silence became legend. Across star systems, whispers spread of the species that refused council authority, refused to speak unnecessarily, yet commanded respect through calm, careful strength. Humans had done what no empire had ever done. They had forced caution, respect, and even fear without a single act of aggression. In deep space, High Envoy Salak and his advisors continued to debate humanity. "They are not violent," one said. "Yet they are unstoppable if we provoke them." Salak shook his head. "They have taught the galaxy something no one else could. Patience, readiness, silence. That is their power. That is something we cannot ignore, and that is something we will remember." On the horizon, Daniel Brooks spoke to his crew. "We do not need to fight. We do not need to threaten. We do not need to speak unless necessary. Our readiness alone is our strength. Our patience alone is our shield." Lisa Grant smiled faintly. "And the galaxy has already learned it." On Earth, Claire Hamilton looked at the stars one final time. "Humans have not conquered. Humans have not destroyed. Humans have only prepared. Yet that preparation has reshaped the galaxy. Strength is not in aggression. Strength is in control. Strength is in knowing when to act and when to remain silent. Across the stars, council fleets moved cautiously. Independent systems watched from a distance. Humans remained in their territory, ready, patient, and silent. They had not spoken, but their message was clear. Humanity would not bow. Humanity would not negotiate under pressure. Humanity would protect its own. And in that refusal, the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humanity had declined to speak. The galaxy had listened. And in that silence, humans had shown the greatest strength of all: certainty, readiness, and the unyielding will to protect what they held dear. No weapon had been fired. No empire had been destroyed. No words had been shouted. And yet the galaxy had changed forever. Humans waited, patient, calm, and unshakable, and the stars would remember it for all time.